This time with a new Survivor video. So, season 47 of Survivor, Survivor 47, ended a couple months ago, and Survivor season 48, Survivor 48, comes out at the end of this month. So, one thing I was thinking about was I've read some rumors about some plans for Survivor 50 that's going to probably come out not at the end of this year, probably beginning of next year. And I thought to myself, not counting Winners at War, it's been a while since we've really had a genuine all-star season. And even Winners at War was still pretty awesome. But I want to see a new all-star season. So I thought to myself, while it looks like it's not going to go this route, unless they're really doing a good job of hiding it, the people who work behind the scenes at Survivor, like producers and everything, if there were to be a new all-star season of just the Survivor new era, who would I want to see for this new season? And one other thing, if Survivor is, well, let me rephrase this. Since Survivor 41, it's gone to 18 survivors in 3 tribes in a 26-day format. And I'm hoping with season 50, when it comes out, we'll go back to the 39-day format. Because I really feel like part of the reason why they went to the 26-day format was because of COVID. That's also why they stopped doing the live shows and why they've stuck with Fiji for so long was just because it was just easy to keep the whole production in one country rather than constantly keep trying to move everyone around. So, like I said, if Survivor 50 were to be a new all-star season, kind of going back to an older format again, I basically said if it was just new era players, because I think we should do just new era players, who would I want to see? So so this is what I did. I looked at the last 7 seasons, Survivor 41 to Survivor 47, and I picked one finalist and 2 players from 9th to 4th place, because as I said in a previous video, to be considered an all-star for Survivor, in my opinion, you should at least make it halfway into the game, or at least placement-wise, which is 9th place. And so that got me to 21 contestants, but then I narrowed it down to 16, 8 men and 8 women, so that way there could still be a few spots open for seasons 48 and 49. So this is just from those 21 of the players from 41 to 47, which 16 would I want to see come back for an all-star season if it were to go back to a 39-day format. So I also split into 2 parts, just so that would be easier to make this video. So seasons 41 to 43 and 44 to 47. So I'm just going to go through each one very quickly and just give my quick thoughts on why I want to see them return. Okay, so part 1 would be from seasons 41 to 43. So here are the players from those 3 seasons I'd like to see return. And real quick reminder, I did not want anyone who came less than 9th, and I did not want anyone who actually won. So that gave me everyone from places 9th through 2nd. So first would be Deshaun Raiden from season 41. He was one of the 2 finalists. One thing that really stood out to me was the fact that he did I forgot the name of it, but I think it's the Monty Hall problem, where he had to pick the box in order to that had the flame on to stay in the game. I really liked him. I think of the 3 who were in the finals, he probably was the one I liked the most at the moment, so really want to see him come back. Next, also from Survivor 41, would be Liana Wallace. Honestly, I liked both her and Shan Smith, and it was kind of a back and forth between the 2, which of those 2 women I'd like to see come back. But ultimately, in the end, I picked Liana because I liked her just a little bit more. So I would have had her also be the other person from season 41 to come back. All right, next, from Survivor 42, I would have picked Mike Turner, who was the finalist from season 42. Now, I really did like Marianne, but I also really like Mike. But since Marianne won, I said, okay, it has to be Mike. So, really like Mike, really awesome, really likable guy. And he did pretty well. Really wanted him, like I said, it was between him and Marianne, between the 2 who I really liked. So, if Marianne can't come back because she won, I'd really like to see Mike come back, sorry. Also from season 42, Omar Zahir, who came in 6th, he was the one who had, I think it was, an ostrich or emu shirt. Just something about that shirt was really awesome. I don't know why, but I just always liked looking at the shirt because the eyes staring right back at you. He seemed like a really likable guy, and he really I really think if he made it to the end, he would have had a good chance, but ultimately just came a little short, so I would like to see him come back. And then finally from Survivor 42, Tori Meehan, I think is how you say her name. She was also a contestant I really liked. Also, one thing to note, I'm a subscriber to her YouTube channel. Even before, I think, or maybe I think right when she was first announced to be on Survivor, I think I had just heard of her on YouTube. And then whenever she was on Survivor, I started actually following her channel a lot more. And I'm still a big fan of her channel. So and I think she's the only one who I think of all 18 people, or 16 people, I think she's the only one who actually came in ninth. But like I said, ninth is the lowest place I'd go for someone to be considered an all-star. So I'd bring her back. All right, next from Survivor 43, we'd have another three people. First would be Owen Knight, who was the finalist. Of the three, in all honesty, I didn't really feel too strongly of any of the final three. But of the three that were the finalists, I guess you could say he was my favorite, or at least the one I felt, of the three, I think I'd like to see him win. But in all honesty, I didn't really care too much for any of the three finalists, but I said I'd have one finalist who didn't win from all 7 seasons, so Owen's the one by default I'd pick. Since Mike won, or Gabler won, and I forgot the name of the girl who lost. But in all honesty, my favorite person from ninth to second place from Survivor 43 was Jesse Lopez. I really wanted him to win. Like, of so many fourth place people who just fell short, whether because they got voted out in the fourth place or they just lost the fire making challenge, he was one of the saddest for me to see lose. Maybe just because Jesse, who cares? I really like the guy. I really was hoping he'd win, but he fell just shy. So I'd really like to see him come back. And then finally, from Survivor 43, Noelle Lambert. There were a couple of the people that I really had trouble picking it down to. But I think just in the end, Noelle, of everyone who was between 9th and 5th, she was the one I just barely liked a little bit more than everybody else. And I wanted to do 8 from 41 to 43, and then another 8 from 44 to 47. So Noelle just barely beat the top. She was a pretty strong player, and she did pretty well. Just like I said, it was just hard to pick a third person from the season. But in the end, I'd pick Noelle. So those would be the first 8 from Survivors, 41 to 43. So now we'll do second half, 44 to 47. Okay, part 2. The next 8 people would be from seasons 44 to 47, from 9th to 2nd place. So first would be Carolyn Weiger, I think is how you say her name. She was a finalist from 44. I think of the from 44 to 47 of the 8 finalists, I wanted to pick one from every season. And in all honesty, I didn't really care for really the other 2 finalists from 44 who didn't win. So it was kind of just like a coin flip in a sense, or toss it up between her and the other one. So just picked her by default. Also from 44, I would have picked Frankie Marin, who came in 8th. It ultimately came between her and Carson Garrett. And while I did like Carson, again, just barely went with her over Carson. I think of the 7 seasons, 41 to 47, I think 44 was probably my least favorite. But I still wanted to pick 2 people from each season, at least. So ultimately, I went with Franny. Because again, I do like her. But ultimately, it was, like I said, between her and Carson. Although I will say this, Franny is dating, I forgot his name. I think it was Matt, I think was his name, who was also on the season. And I did really like Matt, but it was either 11th or 10th. So he would not make the cut, which is sad. If he had made it to at least 9th, he definitely would have made my list. But I had to be consistent. So, like I said, by default, I picked Franny. All right, next, Survivor 45, which again, I liked way more than Survivor 44, to be honest. I'd pick of the finalists, Jake O'Kane. I really thought he had a good chance of winning, but it's just like right at the end, final tribal, it's like, it's hard to really say. I really did like Jake, and I really do hope if he were to come back, he'd win this time, because I think he was one of the finalists I really felt strongly about going into the final, but then by the time final tribal, I was like, I don't know, I think he's not making the strongest arguments of why he should win, and he felt just shy at it. It's like, that happens so many seasons where people either just aren't giving good, I guess, performances of Final Tribal, aren't giving good answers, come off as just like if they made mistakes, they don't really explain like their problem. And I feel like Jake just fell into that group where like he just kind of not necessarily botched Final Tribal, he just didn't give a strong Final Tribal performance, and that's why he fell just short. Also from Survivor 45, I would have picked Julie Alley, who came in 5th place. I will say this, I almost picked Katura Tops, I think is how you say her name. But at the end, like at the last minute, it was kind of getting another toss up between Katura and Julie, and I ultimately went with Julie. I just liked her a little bit more, but again, I really like both women, but it's like I had to make a toss up choice between them, and I ultimately picked Julie because I think in the end I just liked her a little bit more. But I'd be happy if either came back. I just had to narrow it down to one of the two, so I ultimately picked Julie. All right, next from Survivor 46, the finalist I'd pick would be Charlie Davis, another finalist who did really well. I honestly thought he had a good shot at winning, but ultimately it was just one of those where it's like, one person who made a surprise vote. It's like, oh wow, I thought, oh, is it going to be a draw or like it's going to have to be a tiebreaker? But nope, Charlie. I think it was like a 3-5 vote, and it's like, oh dang, I really thought Charlie had it in the bag. So I really like to see him come back. And then also one thing I got to mention, it would be pretty awesome. I wouldn't say I'm the biggest Taylor Swift fan, but the fact that Taylor Swift, like it was just mentioned so much throughout the season because of Charlie, it was pretty fun. So I don't know. I feel like there could be more Taylor Swift conversations throughout the season. Why not? I mean, it was fun, at least entertaining between him and Ben. So yeah, ultimately I'd pick Charlie. And then also from Survivor 46, Maria Shreem Gonzalez, I think is how you say her name. She came in fifth. Again, it was another one of those toss ups between her and Venus. I did really like both women, but in the end, Maria did, I think, do a little bit better than Venus. I think Venus came in sixth. Maria came in fifth. Or no, to Maria, I think Venus came in seventh. Now I'm thinking about it, but and that was kind of a decision for a couple of these where it's like, there's like two people I really like. I think I'm gonna go with the one who was like maybe one or two spots above. So Maria, and if I really liked her, thought she had a good chance as well. It was like one of those where I think if she had made it to the end, she probably would have won. But like I said, we'll never know. But if she came back for an All-Star season and made it to the finals, I think she would win. All right, and then finally from Survivor 47, I would pick Teeny, and I'm definitely gonna botch her name. Chichilo. I have no idea. I can never get the name right, even with how many times I practiced saying this one. But yeah, so I'd pick her. Really liked her. Really thought she had a really emotional story. Thought she was really close. She came in fourth. Thought she had a really good shot at winning, but fell just shy. Probably one of the most unfair final fire making challenges. Like she was so close, but then the win came out of nowhere, and it kind of gave it kind of gave Sam like the advantage in the final fire making challenge because it's like the wind was just blowing her fire at an angle that it wasn't burning her rope, and it's like, gosh, I really thought she would win if she made it. Like just like I'm split on fire making challenges at the final four, but she had a good chance, and it's like one of those where it's just bad luck at the very end with the wind, and then it cost her. And then final spot would be Kyle Oswald. I think is how you say his name. I really like Kyle. He very very strong challenge beast early on. I think this was the first season 47 was the first one where they didn't do like half the tribe wins immunity at the merge. He was the only one who won immunity at the merge, which I actually kind of wish they'd go back to doing it that way. I don't mind them doing like a tribe, like half the tribe wins immunity, half doesn't. But I just feel like they did it so many times with the merge, it kind of got annoying. So it's kind of nice they did something different. And he did he won like 3 or 4 challenges until he finally just lost. And they said, we got to get rid of Kyle. He's like too strong of a player. If he makes it to the end, he'll probably win. And so yeah, I'd bring him back. He came in, was he 8th or ninth? No, I think he was also, I think Tori was the only one I picked who came in ninth. And ultimately, I didn't really care it was another one of those seasons where I didn't really care strongly for the two finalists who lost. This would be the only one from 41 to 47 where I wouldn't have picked either finalist. So every 1 to 46 had at least one finalist and one person who was not in the finals at least ninth. This is the only one where I wouldn't have picked anyone from the finals because it was another one of those where I didn't really have too strong of a love or hate for any of the finalists. I did like Rachel, but since she did win, didn't want to bring her back. So yeah, that would be the 16 people as of now from Survivors 41 to 47. I would bring back, although like I said, there are a couple other people who I do also like, but just didn't make the cut because I wanted to leave at least 2 spots open for Survivors 48 in 49 if they did say an 18 person or even a 20 person format. Because again, I feel like just kind of bringing this back to the beginning, I have liked this shorter season when they first started doing it because of COVID, but I feel like if they're going to go big for Survivor 50, You got to go back to the 39-day format. Maybe if you can. I get why they stick with Fiji, but they really need to go somewhere else. Even if they go back to a place they've been to before, Panama, Australia, Indonesia, China. Oh, probably not China nowadays. Brazil, Kenya. If they were to go back to a country they've been to before, or even Borneo, which I think is part of Indonesia, for its 50th season, and they go back to the 39-day format, maybe 18 or even go back to 20 people with 2 tribes, that would be pretty cool to see. And if it was a bunch of all-stars from seasons 41 to 49, I think that would be a really great season to have. There are a lot of Survivor players from before 41, including people from Winners of War, that are cool. And again, there are some rumors some of those people would come back. But I think it's time to let a lot of the older season contestants, like, they've had their time. I don't mind if they were to go bring back some people from before 41, maybe like the 5-10 seasons before 41, if they haven't played before. But if they were just to do a Survivor 50 all-star from the new era only, these are the people who I'd like to see. So that's all I got for this one. Please like, share, and subscribe, and hopefully I'll get back to you with more content in the near future. All right? Take care.